Wow, it's a little dark on the screen. Let me turn up my screen here first. Let's see. Let's see. Is this better? There we go. A little bit better for everybody. And of course, welcome to the latest edition out of Tea Time with T-Bone. And the first thing that I want to start off by saying, and I've been talking about this every single week almost. So for everybody that's watched all the other rants and that stuff, I talked about all hell breaking loose about the second stimulus package not passing, that we're going to see people getting kicked out and all that kind of stuff. Well, keep in mind, just a few days ago, Connecticut man was charged with taking a samurai sword and beheading his landlord over lack of paying the rent. So as soon as the whole deal ended, the guy showed up. He wanted the money. He wanted his rent money right then and right there. And guy didn't have it. It has been working. Da-da-da-da-da. Well, out pops the samurai sword and off pops the landlord's head. I told you, I've been ranting that this is going to be, we're going to wind up suburbs leaving us and everybody, taking off to start recolonizing and stuff, areas that are not even, being used anymore. Old farmhouses being rebuilt, stuff like that. And we go back, basically backwards in time. So I called it. It's like I freaking knew something was going to happen. Also, one of the other things this week too, a few more names, of course, have popped out on the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing list. Couple of surprises that just freaking just Stephen Hawking was on his deal. I missed that one the first time, but if you go through it, there's been some more names added in there and that stuff of what's going on. And of course, there's been also some lawsuits popping out. The owner of what used to be the Washington Redskins, now the Washington football team, I guess you'd call them, is suing for like $10 million because of the fact that he was named, is basically insinuated named, whatever, that he was one of the people that went to the pedo island. So you're going to be seeing a bunch more of those, I'm sure, because it's just one, you got some names pop on there, and then turn around and look at another list, and it's like, oh no, that's not on on that list. So right now it's kind of hard to tell some of them, unless it's in the book that the one chick wrote, or the on the documentary and that kind of stuff where the girls are talking. It's going to be really hard to tell until like the day of almost. But still, what's going on with Miss Maxwell? I haven't really heard anything too much recently. No peeps or that kind of stuff from her. She is still alive, but nothing coming out. And of course, still the whole question of what once again, Trump is saying he doesn't regret saying that he wishes her luck and stuff like that, and just kind of staying out of things. So now talking about Trump, another weird thing that this is going to be kind of bizarre. Okay, the closer we're getting to elections, and of course, the more get these riots and things like that, that's breaking out. A tweet came out, Trump saying he's going to stay in the White House, where people aren't going to see him. He's got a lot of enemies out there, even rich people, which it's one of those. It's like, it's kind of makes you wonder what's going on. Especially since, why would the rich people be after him? Because it's like the rich people, those are his bros. Those are the guys that he's turned around and has done a lot for. But that's what it's kind of a weird, odd little messages put out there. So it's like maybe someone's getting a little paranoid. The years of syphilis or something has turned around and started rotting the brain, and now everybody's against him, and he doesn't know what to do. I don't know. It's just one of those crazy things. But should we talk about anal rape first, or should we talk about a little trip it took? Let's start off with anal rape. So now, of course, I thought a lot of people, oh my God, anal rape. That sounds very interesting. Well, it might not be as interesting as what you think. So it could go either direction on that. So I don't know. But here we go. The whole anal rape thing. This is from an article that was written by a survivor of anal rape. And here's the thing: is, did you realize that enemas are used in satanic rituals for abuse? I mean, that's just kind of one of those things. I didn't know about that until, just finding out myself. So very, very brand new, educated to me, I guess you would say. But anyway, so this is and here's what's weird is, of course, this was talked about. This is coming out in recent developments, of course, with the Epstein and Maxwell cases, and emerging facts about the Luciferian pedophile secret society that's running the government and Child Protective Services, kidnapping kids and imprisoning them in the underground cages again, which is turning around and. That's once again, we're getting back. We're going to talk about the adrenochrome and that kind of stuff because we've talked about that one a lot. But hold on a second. Mr. Frank the Tank said, is it supposed to be all black trying to catch up? I don't know what you're talking about, Frank, but just listen up and you can rewatch it later because, of course, all the rants and everything are saved on the are saved right on the page. So moving right along with that, hold on one second. I got a little. Hold on. So here's the deal: Child Protective Services in Arizona. There is right now in the past. We're only 7 days into August. Apparently, there's been 95 abductions in Arizona. Now, you're thinking it's like, yeah, that's a lot, but you're saying it's CPS is the ones they're doing the ones abducting because you remember we talked about a little bit last week about Hillary's former bodyguard. Craig Sawyer, who was doing this whole thing, say supposedly was doing a saving children type thing, but really he was working for these the different companies, and he was one of them that was kind of in charge of the kidnapping. So he orchestrated a lot of it, and and from there, children are being taken. It said in the past 7 days, the fact that there's been 95 of child abductions / stolen from their houses by Child Protective Services is kind of a big number. And yet the thing is, a lot of people, they're not noticing. They don't want to notice, I guess, is part of it. But it's being seen because, of course, the Pentagon, of course, they started the task force, the pedophile task force. They're watching over this stuff. They've got because, and that's how it's being tracked back to Craig Sawyer, and that it's because it's just there's more information. It's going to be coming days before too long, but just be on the lookout for more information with that. So now. How many people, I don't know if you've watched the movie Sybil, because this is actually back to the anal rape. It explains a lot about the scene, if you've seen the movie, about the scene towards the end and stuff where, Sybil, she's talking about the enema to the psychiatrist and that kind of stuff. But this is from Jesse, not giving last name, but this is a survivor, okay? And this is explaining the satanic ritual abuse of enemas, okay? This is her words exactly. Enemas were not the only thing I witnessed being used. They also used kitchen utensils like mixers, beaters, and back ends of spoons or their statues, etc. Also observed them sticking infants and toddlers on old man's laps, his private parts inserted, and the child would have to sit there for a long time like that. It is to stretch the child's anus or a girl's vagina for sexual abuse. They only do this with children they plan to reuse sexually. Now, part of the procuring process, the enemas, is also to clean out the colon, which they do for more elite sex offenders who don't want feces on them. It also ensures a child will not have a bowel movement during sexual abuse. At the age of 5, the Queen Mother of Darkness taught me, i.e., Jesse from the survivor, proper procedures on these techniques. I observed her doing these things to infants and small children and used the enema hose to get them used to something being inserted into their anus. After they got used to it and did not fight it, she would go bigger items. They had a special way of stretching the body parts, but doing it so infants or toddlers would think that it was a normal game. I also observed them put the infants and toddlers on the laps of old men who would sit there with their penises inserted into the infants or toddlers' vaginas or anuses. The child was expected to sit there and just behave. These techniques are used with the high-end sex slaves or the hierarchy children used specifically for sex magic. Wow. And that is straight from the, a survivor right there. I mean, you really, it just kind of really throws a whole, like, what the fuck, type deal in there. I mean, we've been talking about all the stuff going on, but then that one kind of really went into details more than what, like some of the Epstein stuff did, and some more of the Epstein stuff will be coming out. So, who knew? Insanity. Just sometimes you just don't know what's going on. Just like you're walk through the world and like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is that? And just like, But anyway, we're not done with anal rape. This year, once again, for some reason, the satanic rituals and this stuff, anal is the way of this of satanic rituals. I guess it's also like kissing the goat, stuff like that, But here's the thing: here's how it says you can tell, people who were satanic ritual abuse survivors, okay, or anal rape survivors per se. It's called panda eyes, okay? Now, panda eyes occurs when a child is sodomized and the trauma bursts capillaries around the eye sockets, which bulge, which then bulge when sodomized, which creates a ring of bruising. So they get the eyes, they wilt to black circles due to the blunt trauma involved, making the eyes look like that of a panda. There's even apparel selling online that says panda eyes on it for the pedo community. Many pedophiles joke about this online when talking about kids. So that's, once again, it's like the craziness is just going crazy over time. I don't know what else to say about that, but this is from a supervisor of, a retired, was a supervisor, the retired pediatric RN, okay? And also not just a retired pediatric RN, but also a survivor, okay? There's, once again, there's survivors talking about this. So it's got to be, it's their words. It happened to them. They knew what was going on. So I still have dark rings under my eyes. I'm in my late 50s. The horrifying truth is that brutal sodomy is such excruciating pain, and it rips and tears colons from the tissues and colons from the anchors in the pelvis, plus traumatizes the vagus nerve and etc. Okay, the children's eyes with all that trauma, the capillaries under the eyes burst and die. Thus, the tissue and skin, mostly under the eyes, die of hypoxia, which is lack of oxygen, okay, due to a capillary hemorrhaging. Of course, the bursting of the capillaries is the same as blunt force trauma to the face, and it gives children two black eyes. Unfortunately, with the repetition, these capillaries are not restored, because I mean, it's like if you get a black eye, you know how it is. If it heals up, it can go away. But because this is happening on a regular basis, repetition, it's not restored, and they're left with permanent black rings under their eyes. Yes, trafficked kids are always sleep deprived. I used to wish I would die and go to heaven just so I could sleep for 100 years or so. However, the panda is even more perverse and brutal than sleep deprivation. Many times, the perpetrators will punch you in the nose for covering up. So if any child is taken to a doctor, the immediate trauma note it's a broken nose. Who knew? Because she goes on to talk about how hers was she was fractured many times. Okay, I was never taken away to a doctor. My colon was ripped from the pelvic wall in 3 places, and I have an extra loop of colon from the force of the garden hoses used as enemas for clean sodomy picture kiddie porn that they so much desire. Wow. I mean, that's once again, we were just going into just dark areas with this whole thing, and it's just like, what did 2020 bring us? 2020 has brought us so far a pandemic, which of course, if you want to laugh at it, it's like, oh, panda eyes, panda neck. But it's just been insane. I mean, all this is coming out, all of it. And it's just, and it said there's just more to come. I mean, we're just in the beginning of August, and we still have so much. We have months left. I mean, not if you think about it, it's like not many months, but enough time to it's like what the fucking go next. It's anybody's guess of I mean, all this stuff that now it seems that we're kind of picking up on and learning about. I mean, it's like, I'll tell you the truth. Honestly, I never ever would have guessed. And man, I don't even. After that, it's like I really don't know what to say. I mean, it's just kind of one of those. The fact that is part of the whole, big it's a satanic ritual. It's just like, why? It's just, I mean, how do you, I mean, after that, it just kind of does give you the kind of, what's next? What's next in this world? I don't know. It does make you kind of wish for something, and that, which in turns around, let's go ahead and let's keep talking before we go into our fun trip that was taken and that stuff and learn something. Let's talk a little more death, destruction, and possible the end of the world. So, of course, everything we got, everything's getting ready to go back in lockdown again. More likely, bingo for Abdallah Shrine is canceled now. We had it going again, and had the social distancing. The city came out. We even had a certificate, an award per se, of showing that we were doing proper social distancing to help in stopping the spread of COVID. Well, there's been a bit of a spike in some of the numbers, and once again closed. The closures are coming, and it comes down to the fact that not everybody's participating. It doesn't matter if you believe in wearing the mask, believe the mask does anything or any of that. It's just common courtesy. You can say that, well, as soon as the election happens, the whole pandemic is going to be gone. COVID will disappear. Well, I've known enough people now to I've actually in the teens, okay, 13 people that I know, and not just that. Well, okay, I take it. A couple of them I know by association, pretty much. But even at that, I still know who they are. But then the rest of them, I know. I've had dealings with them. They're friends and stuff like that. 13 people that have tested positive, and I'm at now out of the 13, 5 deaths from it. So I mean, it is real. It's just one of those. Just even if you don't believe it is, just play along. Wear the freaking mask, okay? The mask isn't gonna hurt you. It's not gonna do anything. I know some people. It makes me feel I can't breathe. Then wear a different mask, okay? It's just or just stay home. Don't go anywhere. Just sit at the house. Have everything be shipped to your house anyway. Just have it shipped to you. But right now, I said we've got that's happening, and it's like, will things ever come back normal? Probably not. Hell, there's the thing. It was 5 Death Punch. They postponed their concert to the end of the year. They gone and canceled it. There are no major shows happening around the area, and it's weird driving by Cinemark down at the Cinemark Merriam. The parking lot's empty. Not even a movie poster in where the posters go. So I mean, there's no movies being shown. It's just it's like a ghost town looking at that, and it's just strange how it's like everything it's like stopping, coming to an end. You have restaurants and places not opening back up. They're just closing. They're just done. They can't. The time, the short times that they did close killed them, and they can't really reopen. A lot of people still have pay cuts going, and that because they had to take that, and and even if they had their job furloughed and were brought back on, most of the people are working for a lot less than what they were and working less hours because they kind of start doing like the Target style of work, where okay, we'll have a couple supervisors full time, but everybody else is part time, so we do not have to pay big nice salaries or benefits. So there you go, and a lot of that's what's going on too. So it's like, this whole thing is really hurting us, and the longer that everybody wants to piddle around and pretend that they don't really know what's going on, it's not true and that kind of stuff, then it's just not going to work out. Just not going to work out at all. But let's go on to something fun. Yes, fun. Something completely fun and different. So one of the things, of course, as you noticed, we've done some trips with the show. We've been teaching people stuff. We went and saw. We went to the big nuclear cannon that we have. The Mormon Trail, going to the Mormons took one to Utah and all that kind of stuff. Learned about that. The Gun and Bible Church, and we also of course I forget his name now, but he was the man that was president for just one day. We saw his hometown and his statue. But this time, and this is something I've been talking about for some time, and that's just because it to me is like, this is cool as hell when I saw it. But the Davis Memorial, okay? I went to Hiawatha, Kansas the other day. All right, Hiawatha, Kansas is from Kansas City about an hour and a half northwest, towards like Troy, Kansas. I mean, we're talking way out, middle of almost nowhere, okay? Now, there's John Davis, which if we called Jonathan, that'd be funny, just because if you're a Corn fan. Anyway, John and Sarah Davis. Now here's the whole deal. They met back in the 1870s. This is how old this is, okay? And they were farmers, okay? And they didn't do too bad. They made money and stuff. They were frugal, but they were some of the richer people in the area. Well, Sarah, she died in 1930. All right, had a small, regular tombstone that was put down and stuff. Well, John, after her death, he went from being this, kind of quiet guy, didn't really spend much money, and with all this wealth, he just basically he squandered the whole fortune. Okay, and this is insane. Okay, now he took out the headstone and he made this this monument. Okay, that went there. It's this was like is made of Italian marble. It cost over $200,000 at that time. $200,000. So today's standards, that's pretty freaking expensive. All right. And what he did was this big memorial. There's 11 statues in it, which goes and it depicts different times, of their lives together. So it's got like when they first met younger, and as they aged, and going all the way to death, and these huge markers underneath this canopy and that stuff is all center. And it's just like when you see it, it's just you don't really think it's like that's what it is, but it's like no, this is the whole entire deal. It's just this crazy freaking monument, and it gets over 10,000 visitors and that stuff a year to go there and that stuff to check it out. And as I said, it's like the town though, because this happened during the Great Depression. There was no hospitals or anything like that was close by, because I mean it was the early 1900s. Well, a lot of the townspeople, of course, they hated him for doing that. Because I mean, here everybody was trying to get by and is poor, and here he is just blowing all this money on this elaborate monument to his wife, and there, because they're like, well, he's doing that like he really loved her, but he didn't like her that much when she was alive. So but when he is that, But anyway, so when it was done built for years, John he would go to the monument, go to it every single day, and he'd actually give tours of it and stuff. Visitors ask questions, but then he died a few years later and that stuff. Now the one of the few things is a lot of them, he had money and that stuff. He spent all that money on the monument. Now, one of the reasons that, of course, as I said, that he was honored, he loved his wife so much. The other one was there's a little bit of controversy that after his death, the fortune would go to her family, and he hated them so much that he was going to spend every single dime to make sure that they did not get any of the money. So basically, he built a monument out of spite. I mean, that's number one. That is the first thing that when I heard about that drew me in to be like, okay, this has got to be something. I got to check this out, because I mean, I love oddities. I love the roadside oddities, and the driving through the different little areas and that stuff. And it's like, oh, look at all the, I don't know, Americana. I don't know. It's just fun. But let me pull up the video here, and 1 second here, and all right, and let's turn the I gotta get right to the spot because if I don't, it's like, what do we see? Bowling balls. And a quick little interesting thing on that is they were free. I don't know. I just like, you know what? Bowling balls. Bowling balls seem like a good idea. You know what? That light is reflecting funny. Let's see what happens if. Does that work better? Yeah, let's see. Okay, you know, maybe if we move back here. Yeah, I don't think that really makes a difference at all. Let's turn back on the light. Okay. Yeah, from right there. I know what it is. I know what'll happen. It's because, yeah. But here's one thing, even though after tonight's show, the video will be posted on the site, on this channel right here. So here we go. And where's my volume? Oh, yeah, that's one thing. I was looking. My little speaker? Hey, today we are in Hiawatha, Kansas. Now, Hiawatha, it might seem like somewhere like we want to go to Hiawatha. Well, yeah, here's the thing. One of the most famous landmarks in the state of Kansas is in Hiawatha, and that is the Davis Memorial. Now, you might be asking, what was the Davis Memorial? Well, John Davis, he built this back like in the early 1900s, married a lady named Sarah. And the thing was, they were a very stingy couple. You know, they didn't spend a lot of money, very modest. But apparently, rumor is, when she died, he turned around and just spent as much as he could, just went crazy, throwing money here and there and everywhere. And what he did was, originally, she was buried in a regular, modest tombstone. Well, time passed, and he decided that was not good enough. And I don't know why that thing it just stopped right there. Hey, today we are. Oh, hold on. Now, see, that. Let's try this out. You know what? I figured out why. We're gonna start over. Today we are in Hiawatha, Kansas. This is the wrong part. Hiawatha, it might seem like somewhere like we want to go to Hiawatha. Well, yeah, here's the thing. One of the most famous landmarks in the state of Kansas is in Hiawatha, and that is the Davis Memorial. Now, you might be asking, what was Davis Memorial? Well, John Davis, he built this back like in early 1900s, married a lady named Sarah. And the thing was, they were a very stingy couple. You know, they didn't spend a lot of money, very modest. But apparently, rumor is, when she died, he turned around and just spent as much as he could, just went crazy, throwing money here and there and everywhere. And what he did was, originally, she was buried in a regular, modest tombstone. Well, time passed, and he decided that was not good enough. See, he turned around and made this huge memorial that goes through and has basically their life together. You see the different versions and ages of Sarah, and of course, then John sitting there too. You get there's some urns and that. I mean, this is right here. This is all Italian marble. Okay, they have said it's probably over $200,000 at the time when this was made. Let's see, right there, that was just a vacant chair. So come around to. So I mean, this thing, as you see. I mean, it's just like super nice. And the thing was, this was a very poor town at the time. And a lot of the townsfolk, you know, while the rest of the town was off and, you know, suffering, they really weren't like the fact that all this money was being spent to make this memorial. Now, right here, you can see, here are the graves, both of them right here. You got under this canopy here, there's Sarah's. And of course, John is buried right next to her there. And they did have one of the statues that did its head did come off and that kind of stuff. That's why part of the reason also they put this wall around is to keep people from screwing around and playing on it. And there's we got some more urns and then down there, but I mean this was all built. This took about construction started about 1930 and got done about 1934, 1935. So it was just insane. Now there's one of the big things that they talk about. See, we got some right there. Is that Sarah as an older lady there? That she is younger. They said this is all the people in the statues. Of course, is Sarah and John and at different ages. Now, one of the controversies around this whole entire memorial here is. John, of course, you can tell by Italian marble that he had somebody here there as younger, couple right here on the side. But John did not like Sarah's family, and he did not want her family getting the money. So basically, what he did was he went crazy and spent all this money to make this memorial, just so they would not get any of the money. Even though the town was poor and a lot of the people they didn't like this whole monument that they made, the thing is they have every year over 10,000 visitors come out just to see this memorial. And another little unknown fact was that even though people didn't think that John was a people person, because he basically everybody thought he was an asshole and he hated people, because he was supposed to say whenever he's asked about why he built this. He says, it's my goddamn money. I'll do what the fuck I want to with it. I don't know if he said fuck, but he did say it's his money. He do what he wants to with it. I was just adding a color for that there. But he actually, over the years, would give away thousands of dollars a year to poor people in the town to help them out. So it wasn't quite the tyrant dick that everybody made him out. Now here is... we're going to do one more quick little look at here, and I want you to notice on the statue, John Davis, he does not have his left hand. All right, so let's go backwards through the history of John and Sarah. As we notice right here, once again, there's young Sarah and there's young John. He's got both hands. We move over towards here. You see, he's got both hands at that age. Come around over this way. We see John is missing his hand. I think we're good, Sarah. Aging over on that side there. See, let's get that. All Italian. And here we see, getting the older years. I might be, why is John missing his hand? Once again, he lost it to infection. Yep, that's right, infection took his hand. And here would be John all by himself. And then, of course, the very end, the final shot, we have both of them kneeling before their graves, before each other's graves. As you can tell, we are in the main square for the city, and right there, that clock is been there since 1891. And this is the main street right here, Oregon. Now, here's an interesting little fact about Hiawatha. Now, the streets on the north side of Oregon, where the streets are named after Indian tribes that lived north. The south side, of course, are named for Indian tribes that lived in the south side of Oregon. So, a little interesting fact. And, of course, what Journey to a Little Town would not be complete if we did not go see the local Masonic temple. And here's one thing. Look how long big these roads are. Why do small towns have such large roads? Again, And there we go. Of course, this is the story of John Davis and his wife Sarah Davis and the Davis Memorial up in Hiawatha, Kansas. So that there's so many more different little oddities and sites that we plan on going and seeing and filming. And of course, that video will, after I'm done, will be posted on its own in the thing of videos with all the others. So if you enjoyed, if you learned something, had some fun, maybe I don't know. You know what? No matter whether you had fun or not, you go ahead, you subscribe, you tell your friends, you get them to subscribe, and we just try to blow up the numbers of subscriptions of people that is subscribing to this. And maybe the more subscribers, the better the quality becomes. I make no promise, but we'll see. All right, thank you for joining tonight. I said, please subscribe and have all your friends click over and subscribe too. The video will be up here in just a couple minutes.